right. Well, that's a brief introduction from our sponsors. But what I've got coming up next is Lifetime Radon Solutions. Actually, I'm going to invite in Scott and Brian here. Brian, Scott, you out there?
Yeah, we're right here.
All right, guys. Hey, looking good, looking real good there. Love it. So I'm going to let you guys talk all about radon, and I'll check back in with you in about 15 minutes. Is that all right?
That sounds great.
All right, it's all yours.
All right, as Jonathan said, I'm Scott Campbell.
And I'm Brian Thompson.
And we're the owners of Lifetime Radon Solutions. Today, we'd just like to talk to you a little bit and kind of give you some of the general questions that people commonly ask us. And I'm just going to ask Brian a few of these questions, and we'll be able to explain this together. Awesome. So one of the biggest things that people ask, and one of the things that people really don't know, is what is radon, and why is it that I should actually test for radon?
Yeah, absolutely. So believe it or not, radon is a soil gas, and it's highly radioactive. That's one of those things that a lot of people don't know about. They know it's a soil gas. They know it might be coming out of their sump crock. They know that, it's a dangerous thing, but they don't realize that it's actually a derivative of uranium in the soil. So it's highly radioactive. And in fact, in the US, the EPA standard for action is 4.0 picocuries per liter. And to make that, I guess to put that in layman's terms, 4.0 picocuries is the equivalent of smoking about 8 cigarettes per day or getting about 200 chest x-rays per year. Those statistics are from the EPA and the World Health Organization. And so, if you put that into context, just being at that action level of 4.0 is really not a good place to be. So anything 4.0 or above, the EPA would say that you want to mitigate. But what we're finding now is more folks, they're really starting to look into mitigation when they're between 2 picocuries and 4 picocuries, because even in that area, of course, you're able to reduce the levels quite a bit, as much as 50% or greater, and still be able to live in a much healthier environment.
So one of the biggest questions that we always get is how do I test, and what are my options? Brian, can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So I would say that's definitely one of the most common questions we get. There's a couple different ways you can test. Probably the best way that you can test is a digital monitor. We have about 60 digital monitors, so we're really going to be able to pretty much honor your schedule and get out to do that for you. It's more of a service. We set up a monitor in your home, and then our technician would come back and pick that up. The nice thing about the digital monitor is it's going to take a reading every hour, or an average every hour rather, for 48 hours, and then an overall average at the end. And then we're going to have a nice report that you can see. It's going to look something a little bit like this, where you've got the hour by hour on here, as you can see. And then at the end, you get a nice average that you'll be able to see right here. And you also get some nice graphs and charts and just quite a bit more data. So a lot of folks really like that because they can see how the radon's fluctuating. Like maybe when their HVAC system's kicking on, it's creating a pressure in the house that's drawing more radon in, things of that nature. And so they can really see what the levels are at any given time in the home. And then of course, what the overall average is. We charge $110 to do that. I think you'll find that's really competitive. Most people in the area probably charge anywhere from $150 to $200. And so at $110, I think you'll find that's a pretty great value. The second way that you can test is what's known as a passive radon kit. So we carry them. Sometimes you see them at the hardware store. The nice thing about those is they're relatively inexpensive. So if you're on a budget, maybe you want to test your home every few years, something like that, you can certainly do that with a passive radon test. Those are probably going to range anywhere from $20 to $50. And that's going to include, the lab fees, the postage, and all of that. And those are done through a third-party lab.
So I got a quick question for you, Brian.
Yeah.
So some of the tests that you see in the stores don't always include all that stuff. Now, ours here.
Yeah, these are really nice. So these are through AirCheck. And AirCheck is one of the largest labs. So if you ever see like a community offering radon testing or something like that, these are the guys that are doing it. Typically, they're going to they might give you the test at a discounted rate, but then you're going to have to pay those lab fees and the postage. Same thing at the store. You might have to buy it from Menards or Home Depot or Lowe's for $15, $20. But what they don't tell you is to get your results, you actually have to mail in a check, and then that's how they'll send you the results back. So our kits are just $25. And the beautiful thing is you get all the lab fees and the postage paid for. We buy tons of these every year, and a lot of customers in the community stop by our shop just to pick them up, or reach out to us on Facebook, email, phone. You've got our info right behind us there, and you can just give us a ring. We can ship one of these out within a day or two to your home.
So one of the real cool things about the electronic monitor, as you can see here, is every hour it's actually taking a sample, and you can see all the different points. So you can see the high point, you can see the low points, and it actually shows you every hour what your house is doing. So the radon levels will jump up, and then the radon levels will come down. It's extremely accurate. It's just a little more data points to it. The charcoal test is also an excellent way to test your house. But that's just not going to give you all the extra data. It's not going to show you the highs and the lows and how radon actually works with the barometric pressure. It's still extremely accurate. It just gives you one result. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Now, one of the other things, the other common question, obviously, after you test and you find out that you're high, what is it that you do, Brian? Where do you go from there?
Yeah, that's a great question, Scott. So, right now, I know a lot of people are social distancing, and I think you'll find a lot of value in the way that we do our process. So if your test results came back high, I guess the first thing that you want to do is reach out to a qualified contractor. We've been in business for 23 years. We take doing continuing education and being certified. That's extremely important to our company and to our business model. And so we've even have people here in the office that answer the phones and help out on the phones that are certified, which in a lot of cases, you aren't going to find that in the state of Wisconsin. So you can call here. We can go over those test results to you, explain what those mean, and then walk you through a questionnaire that we've developed over the last 23 years. And in about 10, 15 questions, 10, 15 minutes, we can get you a very accurate estimate right over the phone. Now, if you want somebody to come out to your house, we're taking all the necessary precautions right now, and we would actually come right out to your home, do a quick walkthrough, make sure, we're, again, social distancing, abiding by any protocol that you'd like us to. And, we can kind of take a look at the home, take a look at any special situations. Some homes have dirt or gravel crawl spaces or just trickier situations that you may not be able to answer over the phone, or we may not be able to interpret. And so we'd be happy to do that. We've also kind of stepped outside of the box a little bit too. And we're offering, text messaging as well, because a lot of people are loving that. So we can send you a text message with a series of questions, and you can send those back to us. And then we can send you a pretty accurate estimate that way. So, we're trying to make it as simple as possible for people right now. To reach out to us and to get a quote without having anybody in their home. But that's probably going to be your best bet if the radon levels come back high. It's just to reach out to somebody that's able to get you an estimate as quickly as possible, and also as efficiently as possible in terms of dealing with COVID-19 right now.
And then, Brian, what is it that I should be looking for actually in a mitigator, and kind of what sets Lifetime apart from a lot of the other companies that are out there?
Yeah, that's a great question too. So, we've dealt with, quite a few people bringing a lot of things to the table over the years, and we fixed a lot of systems. And I know I touched briefly on the fact before that we really take continuing education very seriously, certification very seriously, and those things, which I think are great. But just going beyond that, in the state of Wisconsin, believe it or not, you do not have to be a licensed mitigator. But here, Scott, myself, and a number of our technicians are fully licensed through the National Governing Board. So I think that's really important, because we're held to a higher standard. So we have to do things the proper way that other states who have different limitations and different, I guess you could say, code, those states have to abide by those national standards. So even though Wisconsin doesn't, we abide by those national standards. So you can, be sure that the the radon system that's installed in your house is actually going to properly work, and we do guarantee our results. So I think that's definitely something that sets us apart. I think the other thing that's certainly worth noting is going to be the insurance coverage that we carry. The fact that we do not do our own electrical, as crazy as that sounds, that's actually a big one here in the state of Wisconsin. Many of the radon mitigation contractors do their own electrical work, and that's really a dangerous thing to be dealing with, because if you're a radon company, even if you have insurance, even if you are certified, but you're doing your own electrical work, God forbid something happens, like the mitigator gets shocked, or something happens with the electrical in your home, their insurance coverage is not going to cover that, because it's outside of the scope of what their coverage is for and what their work is for. They're not a licensed electrician, so it's not going to cover them in that instance. We use a subcontractor that'll actually meet us out at the job site or the day of the job and actually wire everything for you. They pull a permit. They do everything to code and make sure that everything's all set to go.
So what are some of the dangers if you're not using an electrician, and what's some of the potential things that can happen if you're not pulling a permit?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're not pulling a permit, the contractor and the homeowner can both get a fine. And I believe in most areas it's a quadruple fine. So it's 4 times whatever the permit cost was. So it's a lot more simplistic just to pull the permit on the front end and deal with it that way. These days, we've seen in a number of communities in the greater Milwaukee area, different inspectors driving around the neighborhood. Radon systems are pretty noticeable. So if they see a new bright, shiny white one on the side of the house, they're going, ooh, there's a radon system. I don't know. Let's look up this address. Let's see if they pulled a permit for the electrical. They didn't. Okay. And then you're getting smacked with that fine or that fee.
Well, what are the dangers of having somebody do the electric that isn't certified?
Yeah. So I know we talked a little bit about the insurance danger, but if that person were to get injured again, that insurance does not cover them because they are not a licensed electrician. So, they could actually theoretically sue you as the homeowner or your homeowner's insurance for getting hurt at your house as a contractor, as crazy as that sounds. And the same thing goes for unlicensed contractors, underinsured or uninsured contractors. If they're on a ladder, trying to mount the PVC to the upper portion of the house and they fall off the ladder, they don't have any insurance, guess who's on the hook for that? The homeowner. And, that's just not the way we do business. But unfortunately, there are quite a few contractors in the area. So our biggest thing is, we've been doing this for 23 years. And there's so many people now, because radon is such a buzzword. It's such a hot topic in the real estate industry. There's just a lot of guys that are maybe handymen or, just kind of fly-by-night contractors that are trying to get into the industry because they think it's a way to make a quick buck. But many of them don't carry the right insurance. They don't do things the right way. And so we just want to make sure we're bringing that home on this call today, because I think that that's important and something that we're seeing more of than we've ever seen before when we're talking to customers.
So when you put a radon system in, a lot of times you can't see, smell, or taste radon.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing that we ever hear is how dry their basements come.
Yeah.
Brian, can you speak to that a little bit? Why is it that a dehumidifier isn't a solution, and what is it that makes a radon system so effective in that area?
Yeah, that's awesome. People love that about radon systems. So I would say 90% of the homes we go into, they have a dehumidifier running in the basement. And the nice thing about a dehumidifier is it's going to pull the air, the damp, moist air from inside of the house and remove it. But a radon system is actually going to remove that water vapor from inside the drain tile, from underneath the home, from in the soil, before it ever has a chance to enter the home. So radon systems can remove anywhere from 2 to 4 tons of moisture annually from a home. So typically, what we always say is really a dehumidifier, they're great, but they're a Band-Aid on the situation. By putting a radon system in or a moisture reduction system, you're able to remove that water vapor before it ever has a chance to enter the household in the first place. And a lot of people find that they don't have to run their dehumidifier at all or nearly as often.
Well, we just really want to thank everybody here for joining in with us today. This has been an awesome opportunity. If you have any questions, if you'd like to set up a test, please just give us a call, jump on the website, and we'd be more than happy to help you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Oh, technical difficulties. Hey, guys, that was absolutely awesome. Hey, I want to make while I got you on here, you guys ended on probably the greatest point I like to make about radon. Not that I don't, not that the radon itself isn't bad, but taking the moisture from underneath the slab. I can't tell you, ever since we started working with you guys and getting that in our new home construction, it's literally, people have said it's night and day difference. So we talk about something that is basically not adding another unit to it. I mean, it's something that's doing two things now. So I think that point is huge. Don't you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and it also helps kill the food chain, right? So when you take the dampness out, you're taking the mold and mildew out, and it's all the bugs that eat that, and then the spiders come. So when you start to delete that food chain, it makes the house a lot healthier.
Absolutely. So, hey, but before you guys head off here, can you go over that cost again? What was the cost from you guys for that radon testing?
Yeah, so a digital monitor where we come out and actually set it in the home is $110, and that's going to include that more robust report. But if you're just looking to test your home every couple of years and you're on a budget, no problem. We can do a $25 radon test kit, and that includes us shipping it out to your home as well.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. And it's the best way to get a hold of you guys.
Yeah, I would say the phone's the best way. We've always got 3 to 5 people in the office. It's 262-955-5701. Otherwise, you can email us at scheduling@lifetimeradon.com. And we've always got people monitoring that as well. You can also text that phone number now, too, as I mentioned. So a lot of people like that as well.
Phone number one more time.
The phone number, 262-955-5701.
I think that's so cool that you can actually text that number. Technology, guys. Look what we're doing right here. This is totally cool. Well, guys, thanks for your time today. It was super informative, and we'll catch you on the next run, all right?
Awesome. Thanks, Jonathan.
Thanks, Jonathan.